Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, I'm going to be starting something I haven't done in a while. And yeah, I said in good while. I haven't done this kind of thing in quite some time already. Alright, not really, it's been like at least a couple of months, roughly, I guess. But, something like that anyway. So, I just want to start my Disney movie marathon. Yep, you heard me right. I haven't done something like this in a hot minute, so I figured, what the hell? It's not gonna hurt nobody. So yeah, folks. I guess I'll just do something here. I guess to be more specific, it's gonna be speaking about an animated feature, and not just any animated feature. It's gonna be something that was done that was made by Pixar and Disney. Yeah, this was a period of time where they actually joined together. So, which means yes, it's gonna be a CGI movie. I know some people have conflicting feelings when it comes to CGI because I know a lot of people, especially the old school Disney fans, prefer these kinds of animated features to be hand drawn, which does sound kind of biased if you ask me, just because it's CGI doesn't automatically mean it's bad. But even though, despite the fact that I do kind of miss the hand drawn animation, but that's kind of besides the point of this video. So, but I guess to be more specific here, however, I guess to be more exact, it's going to be something in lines with the Disney princess movies. And I came to the realization I basically reviewed literally every single Disney princess movie that they made ever. Oh boy, yeah, it just kind of bums me out because I have no other Disney princess films to talk about up until they make any new movies. No, I'm not referring to any of the remakes. I mean actual brand new Disney princess movies. And that's kind of where I'm going to talk about, really. Even though I did make a video discussion where I gave some suggestions on they could make new princess characters instead of just making sequels or remakes to them, really. And the one I'm going to be talking about is a movie. It's a feature I've already reviewed in the past already. Yeah, it's something I already discussed. So in some ways, this is like, to some degree, revisiting revisiting this movie, so to speak. Because honestly, I think it went under the radar, so to speak. I do believe that it basically faded into obscurity to some extent. And yeah, I've been trying to use that as an excuse to talk about this movie. Even though at the end of the day, I actually thought it was pretty good. The reviews for this film I'm talking about was rather negative. A lot of people didn't like it really, which I find kind of odd because the film itself is nowhere near that bad of a movie, really. If I'm being honest here. So, but yeah, it's just basically something a feature I felt like it was extremely underrated, really. But I find it kind of odd that a lot of the Disney fans complain about Disney keep recycling the same stories for the Disney princess movies. Yeah, they keep complaining about they keep reusing over and over again the same generic story, but when they actually try to do something different, nobody tries to paying attention to it, which is stupid. The film I'm talking about is the film Brave. Yeah, that movie. Which they actually tried to do something different, and it just came out like no one cared, really, even though people keep complaining about the fact they keep reusing the same storylines over and over again. Come on, people. I mean, really. I mean, I know they made a video game based on this, which I thought was pretty bad, really. Good movie, bad video game, which is also discussed as well, folks, in case anybody's wondering. But for the duration of the rest of this video, I'm just gonna be speaking about the film itself. Because, like I said, deep down, honestly, I really do think it's a very underrated film, and I really enjoy the movie. It's definitely an above average film, but that largely went ignored in a lot of ways, which I think is kind of stupid. But whatever. And Brave is definitely one of the few princess movies that actually has the mother and the daughter really interacting. If anything, this is actually a focal point in a plot line in this film. It actually pushes the story forward, especially early on. It established the fact that the whole family is very important in this movie. Yeah, you see that fact she has brothers, And the father figure also is an important role in this film as well. A really, really common criticism when it comes to the Disney princess movies is that they don't show the mother character that often, really. It's either A, she's dead, or B, she's just somewhere in the background doing something at some point, some vague information like that. So I guess they must have taken that to heart and just made sure that the mother had a more of a bigger role in the story compared to some of the other Disney princess movies. So okay, they're just okay. They just tells me that they're listening to what people are saying. But what gets me is that when they actually do, nobody paid attention to this movie. No one really liked it. So which is kind of strange considering the fact that people complain about these corporate companies not listening to the customers, but when they actually do, they don't pay attention. The customers themselves don't pay attention, even though they're the people who are making these complaints. So it's just kind of odd in that degree. They complain about like the corporate companies are not listening to the customers, blah 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 blah. They don't care about the money, yada yada yada. Disney is definitely one of the most powerful companies in America, and this film alone shows that they actually care about the quality of the film while still listening to their customers, which they did quite obviously. But even then, even then, they're trying to come up with the original story to some degree. But even then, the customers the people who pay for this movie, they don't listen. They don't listen to the company at all. They complain the company not listening, but then they don't listen themselves, which I kind of find kind of odd. Another common complaint for the Disney princess I heard is the lack of diversity. So okay, they complain about that. There's not enough diversity within these kinds of movies. So okay, that's another thing that they took into in this movie because Merida is the so far the only princess movie that's Scottish, so they took that into play and make that be a part of the story. Even though, despite the fact there's been rumors that Walt Disney was supposedly racist, which of course is complete false, but there's a company that promoted this anyway. So, but here's the thing: the company listened to what they were saying, but it seems like it's still not proved to be satisfactory anyway because people still complain. So it goes into my statement I've said before. This movie still feel like it faded into obscurity in some ways because when you think about it, not a whole lot of people speak about this movie. Like it's rarely brought up, like hardly at all. Merida isn't exactly the typical blue-eyed, blonde-hair damsel in distress kind of a thing character because she wants to go out and have her own adventure, even though she realizes that she actually made mistakes throughout the entire feature, which implies that she's actually is self-aware and realizes that she does make mistakes. She's only human. So this also can be a good way for to teach kids that if they make a mistake, they should own up to it. So, because that's what grown ups do. So that's actually a viable lesson right there for them to learn from. So that's actually a great way to do that. No relationship between, your parents or any of your siblings is going to be perfect. There's going to be moments where, yes, you're going to get annoyed with somebody and whatnot. On a very realistic approach to storytelling, that's actually a pretty good way to let kids know that no one family is perfect. No one family is going to be 100% perfection. I mean, yes, okay, there's some families that go through it worse than others, sure, but still. And this could be a good way to sort diversity in that sense, to express that not every princess family is going to be perfect all the time. That means the story itself is not going to put the princess character in a bubble. It's not going to be perfect, it's not going to always be fun, it's not always going to be lighthearted. Things do happen. which, yes, helps the kids to learn that it's not a perfect world out there. So it's what you do with your life to make it, well, better. Oh, yeah, and speaking of diversity, the LGBT community. And when you think about it, there's a vast number of female characters in these animated features. So you think somebody at some point would have, started to get some ideas that might be a certain way or whatever, which, yes, is also pretty realistic in the sense that not everyone is going to be exactly the same in that regard. Some people are going to want different tastes, which is fine, of course. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but there's also been rumors floating around that Merida herself isn't exactly straight. There's been rumors that were going around that she might be a lesbian because she's not exactly the traditional princess character in more ways than one. Throughout the entire movie, she fights against the idea that getting married with somebody, finding a lad to be with for the rest of her life, bear children and whatnot, give birth to God knows how many kids or whatever. So, yeah, I guess on a realistic note, not every woman is going to be wanting to be agreeing with this kind of arrangement when it comes to marriages, having relationships in this kind of way. Even if some women don't mind it, eventually there can be one woman or a few women that's going against this kind of idea, which does eventually happen. Again, that just makes this film more realistic. Not every woman is going to be agreeing with this. I mean, granted, you don't necessarily need to be a lesbian to disagree with this kind of thing. You can still be straight and disagree with that kind of thing. Having your own parents find a perfect mate for you, it does sound a bit strange to some people. You don't have to be gay and you don't have to be straight to disagree with that, of course. You can be straight and be gay and still disagree with that kind of a thing. So yeah, folks, I could go on. There's lots of stuff I actually liked about this film. I really, really did enjoy this film. Even though I myself don't talk about this movie that often, but still, I just really believe that this film is extremely, severely underrated. Well, folks, it's definitely really one of my favorite Disney princess films, and I'll occasionally watch it from time to time, wondering what could have been. If it got a sequel, a comic book line, a series of comics, I don't know. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, and take care. Until next time, see ya. Oh yeah.